teacher Debbie. Today I'll be going through a multiple choice question and an open-ended question on the topic of fungi and bacteria. Let's start.
Question 1. Where can fungi grow? Before we take a look at the options, let's recall what are the conditions required for fungi to grow. Can you remember what are the conditions? Like all living things, fungi need oxygen, food, and warmth to survive and grow. Can fungi make their own food? No. Fungi are not plants as they do not have chlorophyll, so they cannot make their own food. So where do fungi get their food from? As fungi can grow on plants and animals as parasites, they get their food by feeding on the organic matter they live on. And organic matter is anything that comes from living things. Now, let's take a look at the options together. Option A, a rotting log. There are oxygen and warmth from the surrounding. Is there food for fungi to grow? Yes, fungi is able to grow on plants, and they get their food by feeding on the rotting logs, organic matter, breaking the log down and absorbing the nutrients to feed itself. So, is this option correct? Yes. Let's look at the next option, B, a dry glass container. We know that there are oxygen and warmth from the surrounding. Is there food for fungi to grow? No, it is a dry glass container. There are no food source for the fungi to feed on. Therefore, this option is incorrect. Let's take a look at the next option, C, a fruit left on the kitchen table. We know that there are oxygen and warmth from the surrounding as well. Is there food for the fungi to grow? Yes, fungi is able to grow on the fruit, and they can get their food by feeding on the fruit, by breaking it down and absorbing the nutrients. So this option is correct. Let's look at the last option, D. A damp leather bag made from animal skin in the cupboard. Since it is in the cupboard, there is definitely warmth and oxygen, but is there food for fungi to grow? Yes, like we mentioned earlier, fungi get their food by feeding on the organic matter they live on. And the organic matter is anything that comes from living things. Leather is actually made from animal skin, which is once alive. So fungi is able to break down the leather, allowing them to feed on the nutrients it contains. So the leather bag becomes a food source for fungi, just like the rotting log and fruit. Therefore, this option is correct as well. So what should our answer to this question be? Option 4. Next, let's go through an open-ended question. Question 2a. Marcus conducted an experiment to find out the conditions bacteria need in order to grow. He recorded his observations in the diagram below. Based on his observations above, tick in the table below to indicate whether the statements are true, false, or not possible to tell. Before we look at the observation statements to answer the question, let's look at the diagrams to understand what is this experiment about. Marcus conducted the experiment to find out if bacteria grew in the following places: in a classroom, in a refrigerator, in an air-conditioned room. What do you notice about the bacteria growth on the diagrams? We can tell that all bacteria managed to grow in the different locations as shown, just that the bacteria grew better in some conditions compared to others. Now, let's look at Marcus' observations from the table. First statement, bacteria grow best in cold places. Is this statement correct? Let's look at the diagrams to help us. Which diagrams show the most amount of bacterial growth? It is the first diagram. Where is the location? In the classroom. When we have classes in our classroom at school, is it usually warm or cold? Since there are no air conditioning in most classrooms, the surrounding air is warm. Therefore, is this statement correct? Does bacteria grow best in cold places? No, bacteria grow best in warm places. So let's put a tick at the first column. Second statement, bacteria grow better in dark than bright places. Is this statement correct? Let's look at the diagram to help us. Did the diagram or question mention anything about the light sources in these different locations? No. Therefore, are we able to make any conclusion to indicate if this statement is true or false? No, it is not possible to tell from the diagram. Therefore, let's put a tick at the not possible to tell column. Last statement. Bacteria can only grow in warm conditions. We know that from the first statement that bacteria grow best in warm conditions, but this statement is saying that bacteria can only grow in warm conditions. Is this statement correct? Let's look at the diagrams to help us. There are two other locations in the diagrams that Marcus tried growing bacteria at: the refrigerator and air-conditioned room. Is refrigerator and air-conditioned room warm or cold? We know that in these two locations, the surrounding air is cold. Is there any bacterial growth in these two locations? Yes, there are still bacterial growth in these two locations. Therefore, this statement is incorrect as bacteria can also grow in cold conditions according to the diagrams. Let's put a tick at the false column. Let's move on to the last part of question 2, part B. The diagram shows a cup of yogurt. Marcus told his brother that he should not eat the cup of yogurt as it contains bacteria and all bacteria are harmful, which can cause him to feel unwell. Do you agree with Marcus? Can you remember what you have learned about bacteria? They are considered as microorganisms. Now, why do you think we classify bacteria as microorganisms? Microorganisms are organisms that are very small and cannot be seen with our naked eye. Is it true that all bacteria are harmful? No, some bacteria are harmful to people because they may cause illness such as diarrhea or food poisoning, but not all bacteria are harmful and can cause us to feel unwell. Can you think of any good bacteria? There are some good bacteria out there that can be used to make food. Can you recall what kind of food those are? They are the yogurt and cheese. So, not all bacteria are harmful, which can cause him to feel unwell. So, how do we phrase our answer to this question? We can write that, no, not all bacteria are harmful. The yogurt contains useful bacteria and will not cause him to feel unwell.
We hope you enjoyed this video and find it helpful. Please give us a like and click subscribe to our channel for more useful science content. Thank you, and I will see you next time.